Hi, my name is Cassidy, and I am a Level 2 occupational therapy student at an orthopedic and hand outpatient clinic. After working with patients for a few weeks, I noticed some disparities and started to wonder, how can I create better follow-through when many clients do not continue their home exercise program outside of therapy? I first thought of this question when I noticed patients with similar injuries were progressing at drastically different rates. For example, patient X and patient Z both had distal radius fractures. However, by week 4, patient X had drastically improved range of motion and decreased pain, whereas patient Z had made minimal improvements in range of motion. I know all patients are individual with wildly different contributing factors on progress. However, I found out around this same time that patient Z never did his home exercise program and only ever got out of his splint when he came to therapy. I got to thinking about how many other patients don't do their home exercise program as prescribed. Thinking about this question, I wondered, why don't these patients follow through? They only come to therapy 1 to 2 days a week, so that leaves 5 to 6 other days to either progress, regress, or stay unchanged. Thoughts I had included, do they just forget? Are they just too busy? Do they not recognize the importance? Are they just lazy? To answer my question, I turned to my textbooks and multiple online resources that I will link to at the end. To answer my question, I first found that it is critical to make sure that each and every patient fully understands the instructions and how to do their home exercise program as prescribed. This can be solved by having each patient teach back their exercises to you. Secondly, the home exercise program needs to address the patient's goals, not my goals and not the goals of another patient with the same injury. Lastly, home exercise programs need to be meaningful to the patient. Each task must be connected to an activity that is important to the patient. So how did I apply this new knowledge? Well, patient Z was struggling with his home exercise program, so I helped him make his exercises more meaningful by incorporating them into his morning breakfast routine. He was so frustrated with his wrist range of motion because he was having a hard time preparing his sausage and coffee in the mornings. I helped him by linking his exercises to flipping his sausage with the spatula. Instead of having him pronate and supinate his wrist 10 times in the morning, I told him to bring his spatula and we can do his exercises that way. It would be meaningful and tied to a specific functional activity. With another patient, she wasn't concerned about the strength of her non-dominant hand when I was making that a goal for her. Her main concern was to be able to do fine motor tasks with precision because she liked to sew. By addressing her goals, we were able to modify her home exercise program so that it was functional for her and individualized. Overall, diving deep into this question helped me recognize all of my own personal flaws. I was beginning to forget all of the truths we learned in OT school about tying everything to function and occupation. I was reminded of the importance of gathering thorough occupational profiles in order to create individual goals for each client and to avoid making assumptions. A fire was lit inside of me to tie each and every exercise and activity to something meaningful for the client. I was reminded of love, compassion, and taking the time to ensure the best possible interventions for each of my patients. As promised, I turned to multiple resources to help me answer my question of how to improve patient follow-through with home exercise programs. The first place I turned was Willard and Spackman's Occupational Therapy 12th edition. I found Chapter 1, titled What is Occupation, and Chapter 33, titled Therapeutic Relationship and Client Collaboration, to be extremely helpful. I also did a Google search and found a blog post by an occupational therapist titled 3 Ways to Improve Patient Follow-Through to be extremely helpful, and both of these resources combined helped me answer my questions.